Hey, it's Tuesday night. It's 9-something p.m. Welcome to the What's on Joe Mind TeamStream. We are a fan cast about the world of G.I. Joe. I'm your host, Mike Irizarry. How's everybody doing?
I'm doing all right.
All right, then. Non-committal milquetoast answers. Coming out of the gate hot.
It's Tuesday. What do you want?
Yeah,
I was at work 11 hours today.
I wasn't.
And by 9:30, I had already dealt with more bodily fluids than I needed to. So
see, I don't need to know any of this.
Yeah,
that's why you need to get the pens.
You wanted to ask.
Anyways, here in the top row, complaining about the cruel hand life has dealt him. It's rack time, Rob.
Hi, everybody. Hello.
And in the bottom row, our substitute host with probably half the most. I don't know. On loan from Articulated Points.
Our substitute host from the opposite coast.
Right.
Hey.
There we go. I'm
here all week.
Around for something.
We couldn't figure this out off screen.
But Phil Donnelly with the program one more time.
Hello.
Hey, Phil. Have you picked up Migos at Disneyland yet?
No, but I did see them. If they make X-Men ones, I'm doomed.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man ones, I can pass on for now.
Yeah. If they don't start showing up on Disney Store soon, I may be asking a favor.
Okay, so
they are there. I have literally seen them in person.
You're just passing up A-list Spider-Man for D-list X-Men.
Ooh, them's fighting words.
Okay, C-list.
I mean, that's where Marvel has them now, but
I'm just saying, you name me any 3 X-Men, and they're not a Spider-Man. Any 3.
Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler.
Not even close.
Maggot, Long Shot.
Right.
Maggot. Whoever picks Maggot. Nobody picks Maggot. Not even Maggot picks Maggot.
Yeah, no. Maggot's out on Maggot. He does.
But
I was surprised Marrow's getting a figure.
He was the lamest one I could think of. So
that's fair. Because there are lamer. But who'd care? X-Men.
Beak.
Look, I love what the X-Men stand for. It's a wonderful idea. There's just been long stretches of time where the execution was lacking. Like most of the time. Like for every good X-Men story, there's a half dozen bad ones.
Wow. And you're not talking about Spider-Man now?
Yeah, exactly. Clone Saga.
Yeah, that was just one story, though. It took 5
One more day.
Yeah.
But, again, plenty of good ones.
Paul. Exactly.
Plenty of good ones.
Anything written by Zeb Wells. There you go.
Right? Into the Spider-Verse. It's fantastic.
It had movies, not the comics.
giant robot kaiju Spider-Man showed up in the comic. He didn't show up in the movie. Not in any real capacity. It's quality.
That's because he showed up in the TV show.
Well, that was the whole point. Anyways. Light week for G.I. Joe. So we're gonna get we've got the community calendar. We have like 3 new news items, and then there's gonna be a lot of time to just ask questions and discuss. we got super chat turned on tonight. So if you have some question that is absolutely burning in the back of your mind, super chat is there. You want to ensure that it gets on the air. We're going to see all the super chats. And so that's your ticket right there. As always, if you're catching us on the Facebook tonight, be sure to give us some kind of a reaction. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a heart. Give us a little huggy guy. We do love little huggy guy. That's what makes the algorithm go round. If you're catching us on the YouTubes, welcome. Again, if you're catching us live chat, make use of super chat. It's there for you. Do all the cool YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe, share us in all your various social media circles. Watch the previous videos that we put out the last couple of weeks that you haven't done. And other stuff. So, yeah. Yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started with community calendar.
Woo-hoo!
Once I find the community calendar intro. It's here somewhere. There we go. You've got a show you want plugged on community calendar or really any correspondence for the program. That's the email address you want to send it to. What's on Joe Mind at gmail.com. That email address again, what's on Joe Mind at gmail.com. We do have instant message through all kinds of our social media pages, but I can't promise you that what goes there is it just doesn't stick out enough. You give me an email, it's something that I know I can get in the show. I'm going to remember to put in the show. Human failing on that one, but work with me here. There's a lot of threads to keep track of. So just send an email if you got something for the program. Community calendar brought to you by Roma Collectibles, the toy store. Be sure to visit them on Upper Valley Pike, not Lower Valley Pike. They know what they did. Upper Valley Pike in Springfield, Ohio. They're open 12 to 5 Wednesday through Sunday. They did leave a note that they will be closed tomorrow. So not this week, Wednesday through Sunday, but most of the time, Wednesday through Sunday, 12 to 5. Closed Monday and Tuesday. You can see our proprietors there. That is Aaron and Mary Mercenary. Be sure to support Roma Collectibles. Aaron is still kicking the ass of cancer, doing a great job of it. But bills happen. So make sure you're making a stop if you're in the area at Roma Collectibles, the toy store. Help them with their bills and find cool toys for yourself and loved ones. You can also find Roma Collectibles on eBay and on their website, romacollectibles.com.
Ooh.
You don't have a website, Phil.
He's not
Actually,
selling
I did.
anything. True. Yes.
I still do, actually.
First up, I think it's the last show of 2024. I certainly can't find one later than this. Knights Hall Comic and Toy Show happening here in Indianapolis at St. Mickey's Knights of Columbus Hall. That's down on 71st Street, like 10-minute drive from here. Especially since they took out all the stoplights.
Or as the French would say, Kniggets Hall.
Yes.
Silly English type king.
They will be there from 10 to 4. $3 gets you in the door. Just $3. Kids 12 and under are free. They're crawling all over the place. Just take one home. They'll help with chores. They'll keep the back patio clean. They'll keep the grass cut. Get more details at knightshallcomicandtoyshow.com. Spell it all out. knightshallcomicandtoyshow.com. Rob, you actually going to go to the next one?
Hey, that's during Christmas break. Yeah.
I told you, last one was a good comic show, so bring a list.
I do have the latest price guide. I can look up and see, what kind of price it would be on stuff I can see and see if I'm getting a good deal.
What's everybody drinking tonight?
You get your Overstreet. I'm dry.
Water. Yep.
What are you, dry? Come on, Phil.
It's a dry county of Los Angeles.
I went with I've got Canada Dry with cranberry because it's that time of year and I feel festive.
Ate before starting this show, so
Whatever. I look. Maybe I just talked too much, but I couldn't. I
I
couldn't.
had a Arnold Palmer before this.
An Arnold Palmer. Indeed. Probably using Country Time lemonade.
Ooh.
Anyways. Next up. A lot of our recurring shows, they loaded up their 2025 schedules already. So last year, this time of year, community calendar was an awfully short segment, but this year they're all ready to go. Proof in point. Inside Pitch Promotions, they gave themselves a makeover.
Look at that.
Look at that. They're the 2025 North Carolina Collectors Roadshow is what they are. How's about that? First show next year, January 4th and 5th, out at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds and Expo Center in Raleigh. They're there 9 to 4 Saturday, 10 to 4 Sunday. $5 for the single day, $7 for the weekend. Keep your eyes peeled. You may see the gunny. If you're not careful, you may get hit by the gunny.
Yep.
Either way, what an experience.
With the folks that aren't paying attention.
Well placed.
But again, $5 for a single day, $7 for the weekend. Hell, make a trip out of it, man. Do what the gunny does. Take the kid along. The kid, he's like 30-something years old, but kid
doesn't get in free anymore.
Right. I think we established a couple weeks ago, pushing 40. He's the kid. He's just a kid. Also got a show on January 25th at the Metro Convention Center out down in Hickory.
Hickory.
Just a one-day show there. $5 gets you in the door. Free parking at all North Carolina Collector Roadshow shows. Kids 12 and under are free. You can get more information at InsidePitchPromo.com. Michael Gene Fleming throwing up a bonus. If you're in the North Carolina Piedmont Triad region, I have no idea what that would be. But Blake's Toy Chest in Archdale doing 25% off the entire store tomorrow through Saturday. So there you go.
Hey, he didn't send that through an email.
He did not. But you know what?
That wasn't for a show. That was for a sale.
He's just trying to help.
Yeah.
He's just trying to help.
It's breaking the rules, what he's doing.
Habitual line stepper.
Rexship 85. I'm not sure how you can miss the gunny with his front-mounted chain gun on the scooter. And the gunny retorts with, "I have two now." So there you go.
Wow.
So heavy armament on the scooter. Be sure to keep your eyes peeled. He'll be there in Raleigh. Stop and say hi.
I gotta think the kickback from that becomes a hazard at some point.
It's got stabilizers that fold down. Bart asking the important question.
I don't see. Oh, there it is. Popped up late for me. Will he have cake? It's not for me to decide, man. You reach out to the gunny. You guys settle it on your own. Maybe there'll still be those little Debbie Christmas tree cakes. You can throw them at. Maybe he can chain feed them through the gun and shoot those at people. Who knows? Who knows?
They really shouldn't be, but they are the best cakes.
The man's full of surprises. You know what? I'm not going to agree with that, Phil. They're probably the worst cakes, but I can't stop eating them anyway. They are delicious.
That's because they're lined with cocaine.
Woohoo!
They are filled with cocaine.
That's why there's always a white film on your fingers afterwards.
No, Phil, that's something else.
Oh, chalk.
Maybe
But anyway,
you're enjoying
Family
it.
show.
Maybe you're enjoying them a little too much.
You're not one to judge me.
But I do. That's the thing. I do. I can't help it. I know it's actually pronounced cocaína. That says. I know that that's the actual Spanish word for cocaine. I just like cocaña better.
Cocaña.
Cocaña makes my terrible Spanglish hybrid funny guy talk even better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I pronounce it as Eric Clapton does. Cocaine.
No.
The flyer says, "I'm baking sausage Dorito cheese balls as we speak." Yes, I'm a bachelor. Yeah, I'm not. Look, your marital status is one thing. I'm concerned about your arterial status. Holy cow, man!
It's all part of his rich tapestry of his life.
What was that one
Very
Saturday Live
short
skit with Charlie Sheen? They had the Bachelor Iron Chef.
Right.
Sounds like something that would be rolling through there.
Right. Cold Vienna sausage, I think, was the secret ingredient. I don't know. I don't remember. Anyways, those are terrible. It's like eating a thumb. Ugh. Oh.
Eating a thumb.
At least Hawaii has more flavors available.
Oh. And of course, the Florida Toy Shows and Expos, they're back on the calendar as well. South Florida Collector Fest is the first one there. January 12th, that is a Sunday. That is happening at the venerable American Polish Club in Green Acres, Florida. Made famous last fall by the What's on Joe Mind community calendar.
It's the place for me.
And then the following week on the 19th, Fort Myers Collector Fest happening at the Calusa Sound Convention Center. The CSCC, for those in the know, in Fort Myers. And then Con Misfits Toy Show. That is a Friday night and Saturday show. So be sure to check out the website for that. $10 gets you in the door at all these shows, although you do want to check out for that Con Misfits Toy Show. It's a little bit different. Kids 12 and under are free. They're there from 9 to 4. So be sure to check out those Facebook event pages if you're going to be in the area for those shows. Or check out FloridaToyShows.com. Phil, you going to make any of those?
It's a little out of my normal route.
Whatever.
I know. Just judging already.
Just saying, man. You're not gonna experience that exponential growth to articulated points if you're not out meeting the public.
I mean, if I need an excuse to go to Orlando, it's not to see a toy show.
I mean, look, you could just do it in addition to. Right? It's February. It's the best time to go to Disney World.
Yeah, and no matter what Disney park you're going to, Friday and Saturday, always a madhouse.
Right. You're not.
You know, ironically, that's wrong.
Really?
The last time I went to Disney World, it was because of a toy show.
Was it JoeCon?
Yes. That was the excuse provided there, wasn't it? Huh?
Right.
We've caught you in your web of lies.
I am nothing if not inconsistent.
The Gunny, the Marine's last baker. Last night I made blueberry muffins, cranberry orange muffins, and double chocolate muffins.
All those sound good.
Oh, man. Man.
In the same tin?
Why not?
I mean, sure. Bart asks, doesn't Disney have a channel between parks? Yes, but it's not for the public.
Yeah.
It does not connect the parks. No.
No, it does. It does.
So it's so Goofy can just magically appear wherever.
Right. Wherever they need him. Look, Phil, when I was in high school, I spent 2 days in the employ of Walt Disney World.
So you know everything there is to know.
I know all of the secrets. I know where all of the skeletons are hidden, and I know the channel.
Not only that, he knows where all the Bort license plates are.
They're all
Pat
sold
Stewart, Sir Patrick Stewart, Jean-Luc Picard on Star Trek: The Next Generation. I do all the public meetings for articulated points outside of California, and everyone asks, "Where is Philip?" I tell you, you know who doesn't ask you that, Patrick? I know where he is, hiding.
Online for Space Mountain.
You remember that casino episode of The Simpsons? I'll take this there.
Yeah. Ooh, it's Bruce Goose. I said get him.
So if you're in Florida, like our friend Eric at Surveillance Post, be sure to hit up the Florida Toy Shows and Expos shows listed there or at floridatoyshows.com. Also happening January 12th, if you're more in a Midwestern way, Toyman is kicking off its 2025 calendar with a venerable program on January 12th. Again, $5 gets you in the door. They are open from 9 to 2. $15 gets you in an hour early. And that's when all the real deals happen. Let me tell you, folks, all the real deals. Vendors, artists, cosplayers, R2-D2 robot builders, and more. It's all there at Toyman. And remember, if you get a consensual hug from Dave Draper, send us a picture and win a prize. You gonna get to that one, Phil? It's a lot closer.
I mean, we're meeting you halfway. I mean, you know, listen.
You know, I'm not one for compromise.
We know. Surveillance Port making note of the Florida shows. Remember, cash charge or fentanyl are all valid forms of payment down here on Satan's Peanuts. That's good to know. That's good to know.
Yeah.
I got to keep up on the going rate of fentanyl.
Yeah.
It had been too long since our program had uttered a phrase like Satan's penis, which is really why I went to this comment.
Give me 5 Bs for a quarter.
I had an onion tied to my belt, which was the style at the time. Give me 5 Bs. Oh, God.
Or was it a penny? Or was it a B?
I think we have to ban Yorktown Joe right now.
Yeah, I was about to do that, and then the thing moved. So the show might be unmarked, but I see a wonderful fill-in. But I don't know where the wonderful part comes from. But clearly,
hey, look, that is some quality dad humor there.
That's true. That's true.
I salute you, Yorktown Joe.
The craftsmanship of your joke notwithstanding.
Yeah.
Your use of adjectives is perhaps egregious.
Egregious.
20 years of life outside of college has beat the wonder out of me.
Oh
boy, I should have a bumper sticker that says that. All right.
Dustin Jeffrey, I hear the honcho is going to be the Young Bucks' new manager. That'd be the day. He would do it too, if only to eventually turn on them.
Yeah.
I mean, you just wait for the day. It would be probably just 3 weeks in. He'd go into business for himself and just start swinging a chair around.
He'd beat them with a real garbage can.
Right. He'd do it, but there would be an ulterior motive.
It's because he craves chaos.
That's true. And he really dislikes the body of work put forth by the Young Bucks. So don't forget that too.
I mean, you can have 2 reasons.
That's Figure Six Pack says Mark with a heel turn on the no, that would actually be a face turn because he would be beating on the Young Bucks. Anyways, Toy Man, it's happening January 12th. Get yourself there. That's all I can say. If you're within 2 hours of St. Louis, even more, it's worth your trip. That's 2 full stories of toys. It's part toy show, part museum, because Lord knows people bring all kinds of cool stuff to Toy Man. But check it out. If you're anywhere close to St. Louis, check it out.
I mean, normally that place is just full of machinists. So, I mean, this is a step up.
That's true. It's kind of cool in that, like, there's all these old oil paintings of the former heads of the Machinists Union lining the hallways where you're sifting through, various transformers and what have you. So you can get an education and find out who had the Machinists Union in St. Louis in 1883, the way I did.
Yeah.
When you go to this show.
Before the
Was the man-
Pinkertons came down on him.
Was
Right.
a man in a top hat and monocle murdered in those halls, and the only suspects were everyone?
Possibly. I can't say I got that far into it, and please don't ask me to recall the gentleman's name. It was probably something where it was a first initial and then a middle name like Charles, and then a last name that started with a Mick, because that's just how a lot of those names went. But there you go.
And mutton chops that extended a mile from the face.
Charlemagne Erasmus Cheese.
Right. That's the original name for Chuck E. Cheese. Charlemagne Erasmus Cheese, fanciful whimsies, and Italian supper pies.
Good Time Party Inc.
Fanciful whimsies and Italian supper pies. Doug Dello, sorry I'm late. Did I miss anything? Well, I think that means we got to take it from the top.
No, don't.
Not again.
I just because the button is weird now.
Saved by technical failure.
Right, well, not technical failure. It's just that StreamYard now gives you the ability to just when you hit the start button, it plays your intro automatically, and so I have our intro set up to do that automatically. So I don't know what it's going to do if I hit the button on its own, and I'm frightened.
Yeah. We may literally start over. That's the thing.
Right. The last thing I want to do is kick out the feed, because that means that I have to set up a whole new one to finish the program, and I'm not doing that. But I'll be honest, I'm too lazy for that tonight.
It's too hot today.
Wreckship 85 throwing in Charles Etienne cheese. No, Charlemagne Erasmus cheese.
It has to be sufficiently Victorian and stuffy.
Yorktown Joe continues with, mark my words, rumor has it that Phil will rob the mic and take over the show. Nouns or verbs, either way, I'm old. Yeah. Clearly you are.
Sigh.
Wordplay.
Right. I mean, look. Not that I'm a huge fan or anything, but the sports talk giant Jim Rome used to always say that more of him and less of the callers was always a good thing, and I'm starting to understand that now.
Well, not only that, he'd say it 5 times in a row, and then there would be a nice long pause.
Right. Lots of dead air, followed by rack him. Next caller.
Hack show.
Look, man, if I could have cashed in like he did on a hack show, I'd have cashed in on a hack show.
It just makes me.
You're trying.
Look, I wish. And then at the end of January, Winterfest 5 happening in Shepherdsville, Kentucky, at the scenic Paraquet Springs Conference Center. They're there from 10 to 4 on Saturday. There is a preview night on Friday night on the 24th. You can get in on Saturday for $8. Early bird on Saturday is $15. If you want to get the Friday night preview, that is $30. That includes Friday night and early bird on Saturday, all for one low ticket price. Look up more details at GIJoeWinterfest.com. I was at Winterfest last year with Brian with HCC 788. And again, and completely out of nowhere, fantastic sales floor. So if you're in the neighborhood of Shepherdsville, Kentucky, which is close to Louisville, for those of you who are thinking it's out in the sticks, it's not. Winterfest is worth your trip. Great dealer room last year. Cannot recommend it enough. Notice all the comments stop when I start talking about the show itself. That's when nobody has anything to say.
Well, the big problem is they've changed the website, so it
right. We can no longer slide over to kygijoe.com. Although that one will direct you to G.I. Joe Winterfest, and it is still the home of the summer show that they do.
Boy, you think you're slick, don't you?
They are covering every inch, and then they want to make sure that you have early, easy access. Anyway,
to every nook and cranny.
Just fill in all the gaps. Wreckship 85 is correct. There is even a Bojangles nearby. We weren't able to go to Bojangles. Line was going out the door, so Brian and I went to Wendy's instead.
How close are you to that original KFC?
I don't know. I think the original one burned down. I don't think the original KFC has been a KFC for some time.
Well, I saw a sign for one when I was driving into Chattanooga from Kentucky in 2018 for JoeCon. They got something.
Maybe that's the first one that was like a franchised corporate Kentucky Fried Chicken, because.
Or are you talking about the Colonel's like original restaurant before
the restaurant, not the
okay,
actual.
Yeah, all right. See, now that one we drove by, the signs for that on the way to Joe Fest.
Joe Fest, yeah.
But
screw that. We were going to Buc-ee's.
You can do both.
Hans Chow kicking in the door. Evening, folks. Finally on holiday. It's time to become a regular for the next month or so. So what are the credentials required for the new What's on Joe Mind? Who says there's going to be a new What's on Joe Mindos? We don't.
You have to have an obsessed aversion to brutal chest cuts.
Right. Like you guys assume that we have some kind of plan going into this. We have no plan. We'll figure it out. There's no plan.
That's not our style.
Plans is for suckers.
Figure Six Pack has some cool ass emojis in there, which is why I'm putting up his It's Hans Chow fanboying there. But I thought maybe that was a Cookie Monster, but I can't really tell.
It's just a blue dude.
Either way, we can pretend it's a Cookie Monster.
Right.
It's Cookie Monster-esque.
And that's it for Community Calendar. That's all we got. It's still December, so we got to put up these January shows now, because there's going to be a couple of weeks where we're not doing shows. So you're not going to see too much of these. You need to make sure you're making decisions now and planning ahead now.
What with major holidays falling on Tuesdays this year?
Right. Christmas and New Year's, both Tuesdays. So we're not going to be here those nights. Like next week is it for a couple of weeks. And maybe we'll have more of an idea what's going on after that. But yeah, that's it for Community Calendar. And remember, any correspondence you've got for the program, including shows for Community Calendar, what's on Joe Mind at gmail.com. Just like you saw in the trailer and just like you're seeing on your screen right now, what's on Joe Mind at gmail.com. Remember, super chats are open if you've got something that's just absolutely burning a hole in your mind and you just have to ask us about. Super chats are there. They are open tonight. We don't open them very often, but we figure if there's a lot of time to talk and you've got something that you just have to know about, that's a good way to make sure it gets on the show. But Doug Dello asking, when do we do the end of the year lists? At the end of the year. Yeah. As soon as Rob figures out to do the parameters like I've been asking him to do for a month.
This is literally the first I've heard of it.
That is not true.
No.
There's a list?
I have witnesses. Where I said, hey, Rob, make sure that you set up, because we what the last thing was on last year's list and what's eligible that's going to be released through the end of this year. I've been asking you since like beginning of fall.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's Sean Russell in the super chat.
Hey,
So flown by Seat of Our Pants Airline. That's right.
Better than Spirit.
When you just gotta get somewhere, Seat of Our Pants Airline. On the lam, Seat of Our Pants Airline.
you may only get as far as Altoona, but
Hey,
got a parachute, Seat of Our Pants Airline. It's time for the news. And really only one real news item this week, and unfortunately it's from last week. The passing of our good friend Morgan Lofting on November 30th. We put up our tribute show. Go listen. It was a great time. That's all I've got to say about it. Anything to add, Rob?
No. I mean, we'll miss her. She was a great lady.
Phil?
yeah, I met her a few times. She was always pretty fun to be around.
Yeah.
So it is a loss for this community.
First other news item.
Doot, 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 doot.
Right. It's okay to give the surveillance port doots, silly doots.
That's right.
Lots of pre-production images floating out there. I'm not clipping and putting all these things in the slideshow. We're not here exclusively to do PowerPoint, and God knows you should all be thanking me for that. But if you have to see pre-production shots, head over to surveillanceport.com. That's surveillance-port.com. We're too lazy to do it, but Eric's not.
He'll surveil your ports.
That's right.
La Porta Surveillancia.
Sure.
Matt Rubin, Altoona isn't the greatest. I wouldn't go there unless there was a dire need. Well,
I hear their McDonald's is you can't miss it.
Hey, look, that's one of the all-time Jets receivers. Anyway.
invading the feds? Seat of Our Pants Airline. Doug Dello, rest in peace, Miss Lofting. So all kinds of pre-pro photos coming out this past week. I think we saw Frag Viper stuff. We saw crystal ball stuff. All kinds of, I don't care.
I don't care.
I understand it's news, but when you do a news discussion show, there's only so far you can take those.
They look like they're renders, but in plastic.
Right. It's like it's one of those where I could say, hey, Phil, how does that look to you? And you'd go, great. And I'd be like, I think it looks great, too. And that'd be the end of it, right?
I think it looks like it needs a head.
Yeah, most of the time. Not a lot of heads on those Weibo pictures. But again, Surveillance Port is doing a great job of aggregating all these things, gives credit where credit's due. So just make it a point every morning. Check out the Surveillance Port. That's all I ever do. Check out the Surveillance Port.
That's what he does instead of his job.
Right?
There you
Wish
go.
my job let me do that. That was one good thing about working overnights, man. I did so little actual work some days. I got a lot done.
But
now I work
saw the
daytime.
sun.
Now I work daytime. I got to be aware. Got to be cognizant of things happening. That's some nonsense, is what it is. Little bit of little touch of almost a grape aftertaste on Canada Dry with cranberry. Almost. It's delightful. I recommend it. You should all try it. Be sure to give me a review next week. Michael Gene Fleming, thank you for the super chat, sir. For when you get to questions, I guess we'll just answer it now.
Yeah.
What's your favorite weird or small Joe line, like Super Joe, Sergeant Savage, Extreme, Resolute, etc.? Phil, how about you, man? What's your favorite oddball G.I. Joe line?
Well, I do have a soft spot for Super Joe, if only because of the extremely fragile nature of the line, which means you can't really properly archive it or display it or anything.
Or do anything.
So there's so many questions I have about that line that it just kind of like
your everybody's favorite feature, disintegrating hands.
But I also like the weird things like Adventure Team in France had a female member with her own unique sculpt that's different from the G.I. Joe nurse. So it's
nice.
like, what?
So that's one for you?
Sure.
Okay. All right. We just kind of drifted off there, Phil.
That's what I do.
I need you to form cohesive thoughts today, Phil.
Oh.
We got a lot of time to pad here.
A lot of time.
I mean, I can keep talking all day about all the weird things I like, but that's just there's no end to it.
We're just over 40 minutes in. We're already in the news.
I mean, really, we're almost done with the news.
Oh my God.
Rob, what about you? What's your favorite of the small and weird G.I. Joe?
Really, you know what? I don't know if I have like a real favorite small one, although I appreciate.
Get your hand away from your mouth, man. We can't hear you.
I appreciate the work done on the Sergeant Savage line, just because of the Joe Kubert artwork.
All right.
It doesn't get more classic war comic than that.
Right. Look, Joe Kubert doing toy art is enough of a reason to like.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more than some toy lines have going for it. So don't feel ashamed of that. Pat's on your side, see? That's going to get you a promotion on the Enterprise, Rob.
Yeah. There we go. Another pick for me.
If I had to pick one thematically, I liked the Sergeant Savage story. I liked working essentially some weird Sergeant Rock / Captain America hybrid into.
You got to piss off both the big two.
Right. I think it would have been neat to see that really folded into what we consider the G.I. Joe universe proper, or at least the Sunbow one. So I'll actually throw some love Sergeant Savage's way. But in terms of what had the best toys, 8-inch Sigma 6, man, those are great toys. I don't know that they were G.I. Joes, right? They were something. They were something cool. But they were a little too stylized to be G.I. Joe for me. But I'm sure there is a small but vocal contingent of kids who are, in their early 30s right now. They're like, hey, you remember Sigma 6? Those toys are awesome. And every time they show their face in public, they get shouted down by some dude my age. So
they were trying something different, and we can't fault them for that.
Right. I think had they gone with a less stylized kind of toy, it would have worked a little better. I think there would have been a little bit more crossover appeal. I think it would be remembered a little bit more fondly. But they're just kind of weird looking on their own, even though they are great action toys. Cheapest Big Spender, thank you for the super chat. The Oscar-winning scene of Steven Seagal's death of being sucked out of an airplane. What was that one called again? The movie he was in with Kurt Russell?
Executive Decision?
Yes, Executive Decision. Was he flying Seat of Your Pants Airlines? No, because Seat of Your Pants Airline spotless safety record. They'd never send him out without a parachute.
He was flying Spirit Air.
Right. Or possibly Allegiant. It's tough to say. Or really anybody that buys planes from Boeing.
Yeah.
Oh, did I? Oh, no. Anyway.
Careful. You're getting close to whistleblower status with Boeing. You don't want to.
I have a friend that works for Boeing. He's been there for over 20 years. I should be nicer to Boeing because they've taken care of a good friend of mine for a long, long time. But they should stop making planes that break.
It's a thought.
Yeah, they can go back to making planes that don't. I mean,
right. It's we know they can do it. They did it for a long time.
Hey, the board of directors decided that wasn't commercially feasible.
Right. See, Yorktown Joe, my wife bought our boys each a Sigma 6 Paratrooper Duke, and those shoots really worked. Right. They were quality toys. I mean, and as I know, Mark always liked to bring up the packaging with the flashing lights on it. If you're a little kid standing in the Target toy aisle, you didn't stand a chance. You didn't stand a chance.
I forgot about that.
Rachel Selena, Sigma 6 Storm Shadow had a tiger. We did a Storm Shadow with a tiger and classified. I agree.
That wasn't just Sigma 6 Storm Shadow. That was Adventure Team Storm Shadow.
Whatever.
In the Sigma 6 style.
It's Storm Shadow with a tiger. Come on.
It doesn't matter at that point, Phil. It's Storm Shadow with a tiger. So you do it. I believe that's what his name means in Japanese. Storm Shadow translates directly to guy with tiger. Right? Anyway. keep running it through Google Translate until that's what you come up with. I'm going to take the over-under number at, you have to do it 651 times before it makes that translation.
For makes tiger specifically. Okay.
Right. Zaymot CGC, I would love to see an adventure team in classified. I agree. I think that's a great place for them to go. I think that's where they're going to turn after the 60th anniversary guys, or the real soldier types.
The Legacy collection.
Right, the Legacy collection runs its course. Excuse me.
It does kind of seem like the next logical step.
I think adventure team classified would be fantastic. They're doing so many. Go ahead, Rob.
I would totally buy classified Bullet Man.
Right.
Complete with bare legs.
Provide you give him a proper pair of pants.
Proper pair of pants. A decent pair of pants.
You should give him swappable legs so you can go bare or clothed.
Cheapest Big Spender wants to know, if we had to compare a Joe or Cobra character to Steven Seagal, who would it be? I would say whichever one is the most bloated. Anyways.
So Devil's Due Bazooka.
E-Honda.
Yeah, but he got back into shape. We have Steven Seagal in doing that. So Jeff Butler, isn't Guy with Tiger the next classified animal companion figure set? I think so.
It is now.
Guy with Tiger. That's what we need.
Guy.
Sergeant Flash, Guy with Tiger. Maybe that could be a 2-pack.
Sergeant Flash with Tiger.
With his tiger flashy. I don't know.
Skippy.
Flash with Sergeant Tiger. The tiger outranks him.
I don't know. Tiger was a Joe in Paul Aller's book, so maybe we'll hold out for that. They better not do him before they do Flash, though. I'm gonna be angry at that point.
Cool breeze before Flash.
I so help me, Phil. If that happens, I'm coming and I'm just punching you.
Driving to Pasadena just to punch you.
Wherever Phil is, Petaluma. I don't know.
Sure, I'm in Petaluma.
Opens the door.
Tarzana.
Just pacing outside the front entrance at Disneyland with a big stick. Head of security standing there like, hold off. I want to see where this goes.
Guess I'm taking the monorail in.
Monorail. Now Now I may have to just go to go.
And sing.
Of course. The ring came off my pudding can.
Remember,
My penknife,
mono
Marvin.
means one, and rail means rail.
That's the best part of flying into Orlando, right? Take the monorail on out of there.
Listen to the mayor of Orlando lecture you as you go.
Glide gently as a cloud, and they ain't just whistling Dixie.
Yeah. Just be sure to call the big one Bitey.
Rachel Salinas is willing to bet that someone in Tarzana has a tiger.
Probably Edgar Rice Burroughs at one point.
Oh. Next news item. Surveillance-port.com. Hey, we got some Skybound bits. Tomorrow, Transformers 15 is happening.
Ooh.
Rob, your spoiler-free preview.
Robots will be in disguise.
Excellent. Followed by the next week, G.I. Joe 2 will hit stands. That is December 18. That is 1 week from tomorrow. And then there will be as many issues of G.I. Joe as there are Elvis Clambake movies. 2. There's only one Clambake.
Okay.
It's a little joke just for me and Rack Time, Rob.
Yeah. While we were sitting and watching Clambake.
Right. There was a few months ago, there was an Elvis movie marathon on, what was it, Turner Classic Movies?
Yeah.
Guess they can't all be winners.
And Clambake.
Clambake's a winner.
Clambake is Elvis with arch nemesis Bill Bixby. And then
Boy, you chose the wrong nemesis.
After that was the classic Viva Las Vegas, Elvis and Ann Margaret. And we had to sit there and we watched them both. We didn't have to watch them both, but we had to admit to one another after those two movies were done that for all of the press Viva Las Vegas gets, and I understand why people like Viva Las Vegas. It's got Ann Margaret. I understand why people like Viva Las Vegas. But Clambake was actually the better movie. It had a plot. It made sense front to back. It wasn't good, but it made sense. Viva Las Vegas is just a...
It turns into Death Race 2000 in the end of the movie. That's weird.
It's insanity. It's insanity. And that's kind of the fun of it. But at the same time, we had to admit that if we're just looking for a better movie, Clambake is a better movie.
Okay. Yeah.
I bet everybody who had Elvis movie review on their What's on Joe Mind bingo card tonight, you may now place a coin on that square.
That was my free space. I really did not think this card out.
Ooh, Firefly giving us a heads up right before the show. Skybound sent out that they'll be sending out the address verification form for the Joe Kickstarter to ship. December 12th to 15th is when people should see theirs. That's 2 days from now. Are you sure?
Yeah, actually. Yes.
Is that when people are going to see the email or see the books?
See the email.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. I was confused there for a second. So keep an eye on your mailbox for that. Thank you, Firefly. See, I didn't even make him go to Super Chat for that.
Ooh.
That's Julian proving to be useful for a change. Oh, anyways. Poor guy. He's one of our coffee backers, and I'm here ragging him on the air after he gives us a helpful tip. I understand why co-hosts keep leaving now. as Phil bails out mid-show.
Pull that ripcord.
Got to go somewhere. A thing came up. It's
yeah.
I got a thing.
You got to pick up those Migos for me, right?
Sure. Yeah. Why not?
Next news item. I'm not sure we have another news item. Oh, yeah, wait, we do have that. We got the stuff on the swag shop. This is how slow of a news week it was, folks. I have to put a TeePublic sale in as a news item, but it's there for you through the 18th of December. You can save 35% on tees. Enjoy deep discounts on everything site-wide. The last day for standard shipping before Christmas, December 15. So it's the end of this week, essentially. Again, normal size tees there. I think small through double XL going to come up at just $16. You pay a little bit more for triple X and bigger. But also sweatshirts, mugs, magnets, stickers, caps, and more. Link is down below in the description. So be sure to visit the swag shop. Buy yourself a little What's on Joe Mind to put under the tree this Christmas. But do it by December 15th. Torpedo Mike said, I got myself a hat and a Christmas shirt for the daughter. There you go. I was wondering who bought those. A kid-sized shirt. I was a little thrown. I was like, what's happening here?
It's to lure one of those free children out of the conventions.
Right, but we already know that she's in the club, right?
Now back to what's on your mind?
Hey.
Granted, she's twice that size now because that's from like 3 years ago, but still. Any young and willing to give us a bumper. No reaction. Good God.
None.
Nothing. We got nothing.
Can't possibly be this tired.
It's been a long year.
Yeah.
Art says no mankinis. No, I mean, we're limited by what TeePublic is willing to sell, but if you write to them and tell them that's what you want, I'm not ashamed to put our logo on anything.
You're supposed to say they're sold out.
No, look, we're here to enact positive change. We're here to build a community. And if this community wants mankinis with What's on Joe Mind emblem, then that's what they're going to get, damn it.
In a variety of colors and fabrics.
Michael Gene Fleming says, hate to bail, but work says I've got to go in the morning and stay awake all day if they're going to pay me the money for that toy store sale. Look, man, that's staying awake all day. That is just a suggestion. Don't let the man push you around like that. Come on. Come on, Gene. Come on, Gene. Bart needs that mankini to cover his C-nugs. Yes, you do, sir.
Yes.
You do. Make sure
At least that's what the police say.
You're a tall guy too. Make sure you get the double, 2XL.
ABC, always be covered.
Or always block C-nugs.
Yeah.
Anyways. Oh. Lord of the Flyers, thank you for the super chat. What are your thoughts on the Kincaid Studios DC Comics art? Better or worse than Boeing? Oh, look, now we're having to go across different genres to compare.
Wow.
Looking at the one in front of the Cincinnati train station or the Hall of Justice, I've heard it both ways. That's the Hall of Justice. No apologies necessary.
Yeah.
But Racktime Rob, you're the resident DC Comics geek.
All right.
We'd be remiss if we didn't start with you here.
All right. Kincaid Studios DC Comics. I have to look up and see what some of these look like.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll come back to that. In the meantime, give me a next news item, Boop, while you're looking that up. All right. Hey, we got some recent releases. I know I put a post of this on our social media that affected absolutely zero change. Not absolutely zero, but very few of you went and actually watched these. It would be nice if you did. This stuff doesn't make itself. It takes a lot of time, even the short ones. But we're trying to share the beach party as a separate way to seed the channel here, and nobody's watching them. And then, of course, last week's episode, the virtual JoeCon Joe parody episode, featuring the late Morgan Lofting and Zach Hoffman and Brian Cummings. One of the best recordings we ever did. One of the last audio recordings we ever did. The move to YouTube was shortly afterwards. I think the only one in between was the Gary Godso comeback special. That was I think the Gary Cagazzo comeback special was the last audio only episode of What's on Joe Mind. But immediately preceding that was Flashback Virtual JoeCon Day 6 Joe Parody with those 3 guests. So please check that out. It's only 42 minutes. I know we take up a big chunk of your evening with 2 hours and 3 hours and stuff a lot of times. These are not those kind of shows. And so because they're not our normal show, YouTube is kind of burying them in the algorithm. They perform as well as anything else we do with the people who they get to, but they're not getting to anybody because they're not normal, quote unquote. So please make it a point, head over to our video page and check these out at some point in the next couple of days. We really need you. We're going to grow this thing as much as you let us. So please, when we put stuff out, even if you just turn it on and go to bed, great. You don't have to actually watch if you get what I'm saying. But hey, do us a favor. Dave McDonald says that I need to Scrooge McDuck through my beachheads. That is not nearly a big enough box for that to accommodate.
And you need to buy the vault first.
Yeah.
Right, that too. But it's a big box. We could probably get little mango habanero to kind of toddle around.
You could backyard pool through your.
Yeah, that's probably the largest human that could Scrooge McDuck in the Beachhead collection.
You dip
we could get a classified beachhead to Scrooge McDuck through the Beachhead collection.
Right. Jeff Butler says, I watched the Jeopardy show. It was so much fun to hear Brian Cummings. Seems like quite a character. Yeah, he was pretty much in character the entire show. We were recording that night. It was 40 odd minutes that we actually went into the show. We were recording for probably an hour and a half. And he was in character as Mindbender doing an open mic the entire time. Like it was great. It was fantastic. So every bit as good as advertised, that guy. Fantastic folks. All 3 of those folks. It was a great episode. One of my true absolute favorites in the entire 14-year run of What's on Joe Mind. So it meant a lot to pull that one out and share it. So please go check it out. Doug Dello says, isn't Brian always in character? Yes, although sometimes it's hard to tell what that character is. He's always a character. Anyway. Anyhow. Next news item. Any word on DC Kincaid artwork, Rob?
Yes, it's every bit the Thomas Kincaid schlock you'd expect it to be.
With DC heroes slapped on top.
Yes, I noticed they're using those up to the minute current New 52 fashions on a lot of the characters. So
up to date from 13 years ago.
From 13 years ago, exactly.
So it's a no, is what you're saying. It's a no in response to the question that was super chatted from Lord of the Flyers.
Yeah,
it's a big pile of no.
If I'm going to spend that much money on a piece of artwork, I'm going to get one by an actual DC artist. Thank you.
Get yourself that Jose Maria Garcia Lopez style guide from '83.
It's coming.
It better be.
I still think of Jim Lee as a Marvel artist, so
even though he's been part of DC for the last almost quarter century now.
Right.
Yeah.
two decades and some. That's what the X-Men do to you, Phil. They poison your brain. They poison your brain with crap.
He'll be doing more Batman shortly.
Right? Jim Lee
They also drained my wallet.
Jim Lee draws a good Batman. Nobody draws a good maggot.
Carlos Pacheco tried. He really did.
I mean, he's a good artist, but
He is. Look, they can all try. Anyways, G.I. Joe 3D Printing Podcast proudly brings you Chunky Tank Kitty and his Meowler tank. Josiah Alcorn says, just got home. Are we raising money for something? No, we're having a lot of time for questions. So we figured it was a good way to if you have a really big burning question, Super Chat's a good way to get it into the forefront. But anyways, and to address this statement from Lord of the Flyers, no, Beachhead collection. What's on Joe Mind money does not fund the Beachhead collection. It is its own thing. We've bought all kinds of equipment to help appear to be somewhat professional. We paid for our room at Joe Fest. We channel money is channel money. I don't go spending that on personal stuff. So I will address that every time because I want people to know your contribution is not paying for my weird action figure obsession. But anyways, G.I. Joe 3D Printing Podcast, they're a bit more professional than we are these last couple of weeks.
Ooh.
And they've got another show coming up this Sunday on the 15th at noon. They will be updating everyone on their Project Scorpion Desert Patrol Vehicle 3D build. This is the brainchild of Michael Kleppinger, the man who brought you Chunky Tank Kitty in plastic form. So if you are really, they've almost done a soft reset over at the 3D Printing Podcast. They're really trying to make something out of the show. If you are the least bit interested in 3D printing, I would go back over their last 3-4 episodes and just start there. It's a great place to go if you're a beginner. They've talked about equipment to purchase. Then a couple of weeks ago, they had John and Mikey Kukovic on, who are designers. They've worked with Call Sign Longbow and Skeletron and any number of other of the startup companies we love so well. And then last week, I forget the guy's name. I'm sorry. I'd have to go back and check. But they had another guest on last week talking about toy design. And now we've got Michael's homegrown project coming up this weekend. So really, go out of your way. If you're the least bit interested in 3D printing, Mark and Mike and Archwan really do a great job of breaking down the process. And they're good guys. They have a good chemistry. They like one another. That always makes the show easier to take. There's no egos going on there. Look, sometimes, Phil, you're laughing, but sometimes you watch a show and you can tell that the hosts are constantly trying to one-up one another.
Yeah.
Like there's no real relationship there. They're just there to try and be internet famous. And you know, that's always been a stance of bullshit here on What's on Joe Mind, and I know it is for you too, and that's why we like having you around. But yeah, so check out the G.I. Joe 3D Printing Podcast. We've got them linked to our page, to our channel page here on YouTube. You can just click over when we're done and check out their library. A great show. I don't know anything about 3D printing, and I'm entertained by their program. Just if nothing else, when they start showing off stuff that they're working on, because I sit there like a little kid going, ooh, like when Mark was on our show and busted out his 2-seat shark, and I about lost my mind. All he did was take 2 chairs and put them in a shark. Granted, it was a classified size shark, so it's something he could use as an end table, maybe as the base for a lamp. But yeah, no, good stuff. Be sure to check them out. And that is the news.
Ooh. At only 69 minutes.
Be back after a quick word from our friends and sponsors at Kokomo Toys.
We buy, sell, and trade vintage and modern toys. G.I. Joe, Star Wars, Transformers, Marvel, DC, and more. Located in beautiful downtown Kokomo, Indiana, we are open every Wednesday through Saturday from 12 to 5. It's a theme park of nostalgia. Join the thousands of people who have traveled from all over the Midwest for over a decade to buy and sell with us. Get your geek on.
And Josiah Alcorn, thank you so much for the super chat. Are we at the question part of the show?
Yes.
The answers are a different part of the show, though. So
Right. The answers will be released in Scantron form. Andrew Gaugan holding out hope for the classified scale tomahawk. I don't know what that's in response to. I'm clicking things randomly at this point. Bart, remember those huge gentle giants, G.I. Joe? Can you imagine a beachhead one, Mike? I guess, sure. I didn't figure they'd ever get that far just because I don't think they were ever going to design a swivel arm for those figures. They went with the straight arm builds, which is, I mean, I guess if you're going to do a short run of figures, the original 13 is not a bad choice, but I don't know.
didn't even get to Scarlet.
Nope. Didn't get too far, really. They did what? They did Rock and Roll, Stalker, Grunt, Zap,
Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes, and I think
That's
that was it.
I don't even know if Zach came out. I know they solicited him. But
Yeah, good point. I actually don't remember actually ever seeing Zap either. So I know I've only seen Rock and Roll and Stalker myself, so I know Snake Eyes happened, but I wasn't looking for a $100 12-inch tall version of the figures that I don't buy in 4-inch tall.
you or the rest of the fandom, which is why they didn't last long.
Right. Like even like the 82 figures, they were great in 1982, but they immediately got one upped in 1983. So when I'm buying for my personal collection, I tend to stick to the swivel arm guys. Dustin Jeffrey asks, if you make a video on a beachhead acquisition, isn't that considered a deductible expense? You know, I hadn't thought of that, but
Well, now you've gone and given ideas.
on my personal income taxes, perhaps it would.
Tax fraud. All right.
Right? We'll, starting in April, all episodes of What's on Joe Mine will be live from San Quentin.
Hey.
I'll be a neighbor of Phil, whether he wants it or not. Job along in the city says it's time to wrestle the big meat. He's going to try and make that a thing. So Bill is disgusted by that attempt. You can tell by the look on his face. He's reminded of that one summer at camp.
Move on.
So, Bill, you said you had something you wanted to share. Since no one is asking any kind of questions in the live chat, you had some. We'll kind of do Q&A while we do
Things we got in.
things we got in. So we'll kind of integrate the two of them together. So
All
go
right.
ahead and grab that, Phil. Real quick, I'll get from Josiah Alcorn. With the possibility of huge tariffs on toys looming, can we stress how important it is for the online part of the community to help content creators? Yeah, I mean, look, we're always trying to stress how important it is to support content creators, especially since we have a real tough time gathering that support. You guys are great. Like the folks who are here every week, you know who you are. You don't owe us any apologies or any excuses. You're the ones who are here every week. But we have lots of folks who just kind of drift in and drift out and can't be bothered to click the little thumbs up on the video, even though that would just, it's a huge help. It is an exponential help to everything we do. Even if you don't have to give us any money, we're thrilled when you do, but it's certainly not necessary to enjoy the product. But man, even just showing up and making yourself heard, just write a comment leave a little smiley face. You don't even have to think anything witty to say. Just say, hey, great show. And or hit the thumbs up or something. And so, yeah, do that more often with the folks that you watch, the folks that make a habit of watching. I have a feeling that our I mean, as it is, every time you turn around, payouts on get lower and smaller and less significant. They weren't real significant for us anyway, but they are actually smaller now than they were when we started doing this online 4 years ago on YouTube. So, and we get more hits and we have more subscribers now than we did 3 or 4 years ago. So, or I guess it would 3 years ago when we finally got monetized. So, so yeah, we were making more then on 1,000 subscribers than we do now on 1,500 subscribers. So that doesn't make any sense to me. It shouldn't make any sense to you. And really the best way to combat that is to just interact with the folks that are creating. It's a two-way street, right? Like there's not a whole lot of barriers for us to bring our knowledge and our, I guess, want to entertain to you. There's no barriers preventing you from giving instant feedback. So please take advantage of that, because it's the only way that these increasingly robotic.
Mike, I don't know if it's my audio or your.
You're really quiet.
Yeah,
I think I'm just far away from the mic. So, these increasingly robotic gatekeepers, it's the only way they know if anybody's watching. So please just do what you can, just do something. Rachel Salinas asks, so now that things have changed on the What's on Joe Mind staff, are you going to bust out the Astros swag? No, the Astros suck. We're still all Yankee fans.
well, not Phil.
Even Phil. Phil doesn't know.
Yeah, I was happy with the outcome of this year's World Series, so
Whatever.
Cut his mic.
You'll be back rooting for the Angels again as soon as they show you a little ankle.
I root for both teams.
Exactly. Greg Augustin says, will big lob comments work too? Yes. We don't care what the comments are about. We may make fun of you, but we just react. Yeah, Doug Dello got it right. Big boy comments, please. Always big boy comments. Mark was not the only Yankee fan on the show. Yeah. It just so happened that Mark and Rob and myself all shared that particular baseball fandom.
No one from Houston here.
Rob's the oldest, so he gets to claim that he's the OG. Josiah Alcorn says roughly half of Joe Fest was probably new product that might not be around in a year. It's going to be hard to fund stuff like that going forward. Yeah, that too.
Prohibitive tariffs like that have been thrown around are just, they're historically disasters economically, particularly on those countries imposing said tariffs. So this is
right.
It's bad. It's bad logic to just assume that, we'll impose these tariffs and raise more money that way. No,
that's not how it goes.
Sales drop, therefore you get less money.
Right. And it's not the countries manufacturing that pay those tariffs. It's the people on
it's
our
the
end
consumers in those countries that the tariffs are being sent. Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, Dustin Jeffrey, correct again. Rooting for both teams is like an Auburn fan staying Roll Tide. So there you go, Phil. Your fandom means nothing.
I don't have to answer to you.
Yeah, yes, you do, sir. But look at that. He one day he's flapping his gums.
Yeah.
One host down, 2 to go.
So Phil, what'd you get?
All right. Well, just today I got in the classified Iron Grenadier, so gonna have to open him up later and see what he's like.
Let me get you in the big window, Phil.
Yep, there we go.
There we go.
Hasbro Pulse order, and like in the old days, Hasbro Pulse seems to be getting this one in last, this whole wave.
So Phil, we were talking a little bit before the show started. You're not a huge fan of the redesign on the Crimson Guard, or rather the Iron Grenadier.
It's not that I hate it. It's just they're going with the convention design, the club design, which really was a canceled 5-pack from the 25th anniversary design, and not the more classic 88 design, which was what I would prefer as the premier Iron Grenadier. I find the skirt might be like restrictive to articulation. Gray. If he had black pants, that'd probably go a long way to making this figure a lot nicer for me.
I'll give you the jacket skirt, Phil. I'll say that you're probably right there. I'm a little concerned about it too. I got mine in this week too, in the box because I haven't had a chance to get into them yet. But Racktime Rob, you've got yourself an open couple of them over there on your camera there. So how do the legs move?
They're okay forward. They don't quite get all the way up because that's where you get the top of the coat there, but they're not too bad.
Now, what if you wanted to seat him in, say, a Stinger?
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Besides, we're all waiting for the HasLab exclusive Demon. That's truly what's coming next year.
With an attachable despoiler.
Right.
See, it's 6 inches large enough that you could really get away with a soft goods skirt on there.
Right. Greg Augustin saying, skirt, isn't it a kilt? No, it's on a jacket. So it's really not even, it's not a skirt either.
They're wearing like double-breasted trench coats. Yeah.
I mean, the way it's belted up, you could call it skirting, but it's not a skirt.
Right.
The tails of the coat, if you would.
Yeah.
So Rachel Salinas throws in, don't worry, Phil, they may dip into your wallet a second time with a retro carded IG. Yeah, they may just do that. I have a feeling that they're just going to recolor the parts that they have for this guy and maybe take away the long jacket part. But
so he'll still have his tie.
It's a very dapper looking soldier.
He's sporty.
Yep. I do kind of like the redesign though. I feel it kind of befits, I think, a private army, particularly from someone like Destro.
Yeah, I like this guy too. There are some problems. Again, we discussed this a little bit before the show. There are some problems with that 88 figure. The proportions are kind of wonky. His head's really small. And so while there's a lot of great detail on that helmet, on that toy, it's he's got a real peanut head.
I just like it's a really unique design that 88 one has that you really don't see in any other figures. And I'm kind of sad that it's just getting kind of lost and homogenized.
I don't know. I know, Mike, you made the comment this weekend when we were talking, because we both got ours like the same day. That the design was a little dated. And I don't know that the design from the 88 figure is dated. I don't think it's dated any worse than like a Cobra Trooper or anything like that. But I do, like I said, I wasn't sure how I felt about the design when they threw it out there. But now having them in hand, I think I kind of like it.
My issue with the Iron Grenadiers and why I think they are a little like those guys scream late 80s, early 90s more so than a lot of the designs out there from that time. Like you couldn't do the Iron Grenadier Destro today. You couldn't just scale up the 4-inch version, and that would look just absolutely silly. particularly from the waist down. Those boots are a disaster. So that would have to be redesigned a little bit. I think a lot of the Iron Grenadier troops and what have you share that problem. The standard IG less so than some of the others, and the Ferret, the guy that came with the Demon, less than some of the others. But most of the rest of those guys are kind of out there. So I'm okay with a little redesign here to something a little bit more classic. Josiah
Alcorn, the nullifier was something that they basically, it was, the anti-gravity pod pilot, he was originally supposed to be like a Cobra Law, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a Cobra Law guy that just got repurposed last minute. Josiah Alcorn with the super chat. Thanks again. So Hooded Cobra Commander is problematic, but fascist-looking Iron Grenadiers is okay. I mean, I think that's a bit of a stretch. Fascist-looking. I mean,
no, I could kind of see they do have like a little bit of a, but I mean, no
black
more
with
than
red
like
piping.
yeah, but I mean, let's say no more than like an Imperial officer from Star Wars or something,
Right. Look, I mean, let me throw out there again that Hasbro hasn't said anything one way or the other about doing a Hooded Cobra Commander or the reasons behind why they will or they won't, or it just hasn't been addressed. So anybody trying to feed you reasons as to why they haven't heard anything, it's not out there. That said, if I were to conjecture on such a thing, I totally get why you wouldn't want to do a Hooded Cobra Commander. With the talent out there and the customizers base, and you start doing, certain customs of certain groups, and it's your toy that is the base for all of those customs. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily want that coming back to me. So I get it. Yeah, I'm okay with it. I was always a helmeted guy anyway, so whatever.
I want to see the 1990 design get an update. That's a nice forgotten Cobra Commander. It's got some potential.
I don't remember it off the top of my head.
Is that the red face mask?
Yeah, that came with the glider.
Okay. Yeah, that one was pretty good. I don't know if he screamed Cobra Commander to me, but it was a cool looking figure.
Again, I can't fault him for trying something new, trying to break out of the norm.
Right.
Give me the battlesuit Cobra Commander.
Josh Dolner at work and the phone's about to die. So hi and bye. Well, bye. Thanks for stopping in anyway.
Yep.
Appreciate you.
Now we're going to switch over to 60 frames a second at 4K resolution. And we'll see just how quickly we can get your phone to die.
TC says that he wants to see a hoodless Cobra Commander. He grossed out Destro while he was eating.
He's got eyes everywhere.
This guy all over the place. That was later, though.
Yeah.
That was
well,
later.
no. Remember, all the extra eyes, basically, that was one of the things that scarred him
right.
when they sent him out.
Yeah.
That wasn't a result of the turning into Snake Boy.
Little bit of Sunbow retconning there.
Yep.
Well, not to mention that every time you saw him in the hood on the cartoon, there was little Caucasian area around his eyes anyway. So that right there doesn't make any sense. But sure, we'll go with it. We understand what you were all up against. We get it. What else you get in, Phil?
All right. Well, as you mentioned in the last show, there was the SoCal Joe show on Sunday in Temecula. And I did actually go to one. So there, I do go to shows. Yeah.
Right. The one in your backyard.
It's an hour drive.
Ooh, Temecula. Ooh.
says the guy whose first JoeCon, for me, first JoeCon was a half-hour drive for me.
Yeah, I didn't even go to the JoeCon. That was a half-hour drive for me. First one I went to was New Orleans. But picked up these two over there. They're from Kid Robot as part of the Transformers versus G.I. Joe line.
Kid
They
Robot
do have some swivel arm shoulder articulation. And for a comic book that I didn't really care much for, there was a surprising amount of merchandise for it, which is really hard to come by unless you're going online. So seeing these in person, I knew I always kind of wanted an Optimus Prime, and sure, I'll take a Baroness too. $3 a piece. I'm not going to complain too much.
No, well,
We wouldn't listen to you anyway. Doug Dello wants to know how many miles to drive that hour, Phil. And the answer is 1.7.
I will say part of my drive was interrupted by a helicopter. So, you know.
Chopper Dave.
he was covering the traffic on the 405, which of course was jammed.
What else you got, Phil?
And just in case people think I'm lying, there was literally the helicopter stopping traffic on the 15.
So the 15 was jammed.
The 15 was jammed for like 10 minutes.
I mean, was that helicopter a a medical helicopter? I mean,
No, it's construction. It's the Cobra helicopter. Yeah, it was actually that model.
Oh wow!
And it was carrying something over the freeway or something for electrical cables that were being held up by like cherry pickers or something. There's several teams of them on both sides, and like, oh my god,
Jesus.
no signs or anything either. It's just okay, we're stopping now. That helicopter's awfully close.
Cheapest big spender. Phil was driving an hour, sitting in traffic for 56 of those minutes.
Bingo.
Yep. Yep. Rackside Rob, what'd you get it?
Well, like I said, I 3 of these Iron Grenadier gentlemen
With their spiffy ties.
What
with
an
their spiffy
odd
little
number.
ties, Natalie clad. And let's see. Anything else exciting? No, that's it from like the GI Joe range.
I got 2 other things I can show off.
Yeah, I mean, I got some books in, just today, which, according to the website I ordered them from, haven't even shipped yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else you got there, Phil?
Well, the other item I got from the SoCal Joe show was this little fella, who is not a bootleg and not a transformer, but is in fact a Diachron release of what would become the Sunstreaker mold, and is in a US release of a Diaclone that came out just before Transformers started, and is also historically significant in the Transformers lore because this is essentially the first fully car to robot transforming figure that was made. So it's like considered the first Transformer, really. And he's not complete, but he's got all the bits that are really important. So I'm happy with that. And that was my big purchase.
What you're saying is it's a knockoff Transformer. It's a bootleg Transformer.
It's a proto Transformer.
Proto, yes.
It's a GoBot.
And then I got one other thing worth showing in this week.
Oh God!
Ooh.
I am very, very pleased with it.
How big is the Robo Skull head compared to your head, Phil? Well,
probably around the same size.
Pretty close. Yeah, I think your head's a little bigger, but yeah, it's close.
Well, that's just because I can't quite line up right. And...
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, if you killed somebody and took the flesh off their head and put it on the Robo Skull, it would look like a normal-sized human head.
Yes, you would. Not that we condone killing people on this show.
Depends which people you're talking about.
His mouth opens and there's
and there's more rockets I can fit in there.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Yeah. See, you missed out, Rob. Robo Skull is fantastic, and I'm not sharing mine with you.
And there's even a place to stick the jetpacks in the back here with your characters. There's a place to store the rifle if you put one of the troopers with the rifle on the chair.
They thought of everything.
They really did.
Yeah, there is also, you pull this out and you can put in a chair that fits a 6-inch scale figure,
Yeah.
which is other side of the room right now. Otherwise, I'd show it to you. But like, look at that. It's just, it's perfect. It's beautiful. I will say, you don't really have a great way to keep this level on its own. So that's kind of a flaw. You can kind of like fold that out and pull that up a little bit so it can kind of rest like that. But I do kind of get nervous about balancing on these wings since it's, transparent plastic.
Right.
Basically, don't the wings swivel up so they can land that way?
Yeah, but then you've got these things.
Oh, okay.
Which they do swivel out, but
so it doesn't lie flat. It's got
that's
like
as far as I swivel out. Yeah, so you're
It's
on
still
4
not a
small points.
it's a small surface area holding up a large defleshed human head.
So I do have one of the display stands. I've got it in the 4 position.
Well, that's how you do it.
Yeah, but even then, it's not the most stable of designs, so I would say be a little bit careful with that. But otherwise,
right.
that's a nitpick.
It's designed to sit there stationary, so it's fine for that.
Yeah, designed to basically run around the neighborhood with it and scare Captain America
and cats.
Yeah. And cats.
But yes, I am very pleased.
The Dizzy Rizzy, welcome to the show. Which line do you have the most hope for? Longbow, Recall, or Delta 17? What do you think, Phil? Which one are you looking forward to the most?
I guess Recall is the one I'd do it. I'm just appreciating what Carson's doing with trying to like make it as authentically G.I. Joe without G.I. Joe, just historically. So I'd love to see how that kind of turns out. They've all got, their highs and lows, but I think just that sort of philosophy behind the line is what draws me of the 3, and I want to see more of, just to see, these guys still got it in them.
What about you, Rob?
Let's see. I gotta say, I mean, with Troy and Carson, both being, friends of the show, I definitely want to see both of those projects succeed.
Right. We have to excuse ourselves from it a little bit. We've known Carson for a decade now. We've known Troy McKee for longer than that now. Yeah. So I want to offer apologies up to the Delta 17 guys who we don't know at all. In that they're the ones that we haven't had on the program yet, and that's more a fault on our side than on theirs. But we haven't talked much about them.
Yeah.
And that's not through any fault of their own. It's a great toy line.
We were looking at it all
Joe Fest was pretty well our first exposure to it, and we just haven't had a chance to get them in to talk about this stuff yet. So I'm sorry, Rob, I cut you off a little bit there. You were saying?
No, I mean, that's fine. It's basically, that's kind of where I was going. It's just, I don't want to play favorites, on, people, particularly between, 2 people we know pretty well and things like that.
Right.
But,
right. I mean,
because I'm in on both of them. So,
Yeah. Like right now, it kind of wavers for me. I go back and forth. I have, the ghost figure from Longbow in my hands now, he's just literally 4 feet over that way. I'm so impressed by that figure that I'm right now, I'm chomping at the bit for call sign Longbow. But that's not to say that once Carson's figures start rolling in, I'll be jumping up and down for those too. So look, man, it's pretty awesome that in the last couple of years, between the 2 of them and the stuff from Skeletron and from Ben, who is another guy who we've known for a long, long time. It's just great to see our friends doing stuff that is, I mean, forget successful, right?
Yeah.
This shit's really cool.
And don't forget Marauders too.
Right. I mean, Marauder, again, the first of the independent toy makers to feature on What's on Joe Mind way back in the day. Look, man, that maybe they're not making 4-inch GI Joes in any quantity right now, but you can't. That scale is alive and well. Which again, as Josiah Alcorn pointed out before, real important to get out and support these guys coming forward. Leave your choice. Put it in the big boy comments down below. Don't talk about it in the live chat. Nobody cares about live chat once we're done here. Put it in the big boy comments.
Leave your comments for posterity. Be on record.
Right. Tell us which one you're looking forward to the most and why. Put it down below in the big boy comments and the big girl comments. We're not really here to put gender labels on things. I just like the alliteration. And as Josiah Alcorn points out, longbow he's sticking a crotch, bro.
A little bit.
The follow-up there is, do you think Skeletron will make more retro figures? I hope so. I hope so.
I mean, with Troy doing those ones too, I imagine they're at least being talked about.
As far as what we got in, I went out last weekend. I hit a shop on the south side, and so I picked up a beachhead.
Ooh, I did not see that coming.
He's a little busted up. As you can see, the waist piece has some issues, and his right hand is got some issues too.
Kids, this is why you don't play with fireworks.
So he's lefty, which is funny too, because like besides those two, his paint's pretty good and his joints are super tight. So he's really not a bad figure. Like he's at the point where if I ever came across replacement parts, I might think about actually replacing those parts because the rest of that figure's really good. Picked up a few other ones too. I don't have them handy. Support your local toy shops, ladies and gentlemen. Whether that's Kokomo Toys or Roma Collectibles, or in this case, for me, it was the toy drop down on the south side of Indianapolis.
Where did you get the Swamp Fire from? I know that was a couple weeks ago. Was that Kokomo?
No, actually, there was a show here at the Noblesville Fairgrounds.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was the Noblesville.
That was Yogi's Toy Show, which we did not have the chance to plug on community calendar because we missed that week because I was sick as a dog.
Yeah. Well, the Ranger, Mr. Ranger told us not to do it.
Yeah, they got another one coming up in April. So we can go to that one. Rachel Salinas, Skeletron is my most anticipated line. Still waiting for my RoboSkull to arrive. The label has been created, but no movement yet. Oh,
that's torture. That's
the
kind
worst.
of torture.
I know. I have some books that have been sitting like that for a week. I'm like, come on, son.
That's the worst. Jason Reed asks, do I do repairs on the broken beachheads I get? Generally, no. No, I don't. There was one, like if it's played with, that's fine. I'll if the price is right. Like I don't spend a ton of money on busted up ones. Like this guy was $7, so yes, he joined the party. For $7 for a broken figure, that's 40-something years old, is acceptable. There's folks out there on eBay who I've seen figures in worse shape than this that are trying to charge $30 and $40, and those are people that I laugh at. But
they know what they have, Mike.
Right? They know what they have, and they have
crap.
They have a giant shovelful. But for $7, have a display stand, my friend. You're part of the group. He'll be just fine sitting in a Devilfish or an Awe Striker or something. Yeah. No problems there. So do I do repairs on the broken ones I get? Generally not. There was one time where I had one of the guys on a stand, and the stand fell off of the table I was working on, and the peg broke off in his foot. That guy got a new leg. So that's the only repair that I've done. So in a word, no, but in extreme circumstances, yeah, I'll do something like that.
You couldn't get the peg out of his foot?
No.
Ooh.
No, it was just busted. It was just clean off, shorn right off at the heel.
You got to use the heat up the pin method.
Yeah, I tried that. It just pushed it in further.
Tragic.
So we just we got on the eBay and we found a pair of beachhead legs and we spent the $3 and plus shipping and we got new legs for beachhead.
You got new legs, Lieutenant Dan.
You're
New
right.
legs.
So I don't even remember which number one that was. So whatever it is, he's obviously living a healthy and well-adjusted life now.
He's making the other beachheads dance to "Good Morning," just like Joe Swanson did.
Everybody's just doing jigs.
Yeah.
But no, I'll take them in just about any condition. It's just I'm not gonna overpay for broken figures. I'm not gonna overpay for unbroken figures. I've done that whole beachhead collection on a budget, right? I have not spent over a certain amount ever, and that number is probably a lot lower than you guys think. So, yeah, there is a lot of disciplined eBay shopping going on for most of that collection. Make sure I got everything here on the super chats. Super chat is open. We won't be here for too much longer. But if you got any burning questions, this is the time. I can't promise you we'll always have this kind of time for Ask Us Anything.
If you have questions about burning, you should see a physician.
Something lasting longer than 4 hours? What's going on here?
That's a condition called priopus, and you should contact your physician immediately. Cheapest Big Spender says, so I'm like Christian, I will take them in any condition. I mean beachheads, not sons. That's correct. Yorktown Joe says, my beachhead has an intact crotch, but I need a new torso. Opened him too many times to try my LBC Customs head swaps as a kid. Well, don't mess with perfection, man. That's what happens. That's what happens. If you decide to sell the torso-less wonder for parts, I'm your guy. But Phil, what are you doing down there?
He's
messing.
He's transforming his Gobit.
You're messing with your bootleg transformer.
He transforms.
His protoformer.
So if the yellow one is Sunstreaker, what's that guy's name?
DK1. Not very
white for a side streaker. That's
yeah.
Right. He's a men's perfume.
It's not a very well thought out name, but
that was
that
CK1. I'm sorry, that was CK1. My bad. But yeah,
DK1 is a designer motor oil.
I do need to get a pilot for him because this did come with a Diaclone commander.
Dave McDonald is asking for a reckless hot take for 2025. We got next week's show for that.
Yeah.
Too early. We're not ending 2024 yet. But Phil Donnelly, why don't you go ahead and give us some shout outs?
All right. Well, as usual, we're going to shout out Patrick Stewart, who's the other, what's the word I want to say? Conspirator on Articulated Points.
He probably left. We haven't seen him in live chat for a little while.
Yeah, he was in the live chat earlier, but he
probably bailed. He probably hates us.
He's got stuff to do. It's fine.
Whatever.
And
we'll try not to take it personally.
I would actually like to shout out Mark today because he's been a mainstay on the show for a while, and he is going to be missed. So thanks for being there and showing your knowledge and doing all you did.
Right. Look, and let me throw this out there too. Mark is not dead. I know that's the rumor going around that somehow that's not it at all. Mark is just slammed right now, and this is too much to put on his plate. He has his own show over on Eternal Baseball. That's his baby, and he's trying to take that to another gear. He's got a lot going on at home. He's already got one kid out the door to college, and they're trying to get Elizabeth there too. They're renovating some things. They're going to be moving after that. There's just a lot going on in Mark Weber's life right now. He didn't leave here because he wanted to leave here. It's just something. It's what has to give sometimes, and you have to be an adult and live that part of your life. As soon as Mark is able to come back, Mark's going to come back. I don't think we've seen the last of Mark Weber. So
you haven't seen the last of him,
right? He is. We've gotten to the point where he has poisoned our water supply so much that he is the only one with the anti-venom, and we will have to pay him to return so that we continue to breathe the precious oxygen above.
I heard he was taking Steve Cohen's money with the Mets.
But what else you got, Phil?
That's going to be it for me for this week on the shout-outs.
Cheapest Big Spender continues. So when will we see the last of Phil?
Ouch.
Wow.
Wow. Interesting way to phrase that. Look, I know, too, it's come up a few times in our social media. Oh, well, Phil's just going to be on every week now. Look, we don't have a plan right now. We haven't even approached that situation with anybody, let alone Phil. I don't even know if that's something Phil is interested in doing.
It's awfully daunting to think about every week.
Right. We just haven't planned for this. So we'll figure it out. We'll make it work. Just don't worry, but everything's fine. Everybody's good with everybody. There is no heat, to use the wrestling term. No heat between anyone on the show and the honcho Mark Weber, or the other way around. So Dave McDonald asks, will we finally see Patrick Stewart? Well, he's on Star Trek Next Generation every episode. So you don't have to work real hard. So Alcorn, one more time. Now we get to do the "Where's Mark" joke on What's on Joe. Yes, we do.
Yep.
I won't promise that I'll always recognize it on screen, but you, by all means, it's there in the lexicon for you. Ragtime Rob.
Yes.
Got any shout-outs?
I do. Quick shout out again, to Mark. I popped in briefly on his show on Sunday night, but then I had to go to bed. So
right, he's on late.
Yeah, they're on late now. I was like, oh man. But hey, that's what the summer's for. Christmas break, I can watch them. And thanks to Phil for filling in tonight. And thank you to you, the studio audience. This show is made possible by viewers like you.
And the Chubb Group.
Wait,
no. We never get a dime from those bastards at the Chubb Group.
This greedy slime.
What's your problem, Chubb Group?
They don't even get a crummy tote bag.
Don't you like wholesome family entertainment? What's your problem, Chubb Group? Cheapest Big Spender, thank you for the super chat. Hey, Phil, you can guest host for the rest of the year. Only 2 left. Smart move. Only 1 left.
Yeah.
There's 1 more before the end of the year for us. We're here next week, and then we are not here for 2 weeks.
Because of Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve.
Right. There's Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. We're not doing shows those nights. So, yeah, there's 1 more show in 2024 as far as What's on Joe Mind is concerned. Or I should say 1 more live show as far as What's on Joe Mind is concerned. We'll dig something else out of the vault for you guys for Christmas and New Year's. Maybe we'll get together a special edition, although me being sick for most of November kind of put a big dent in our recording schedule. So as of right now, there's nothing. But maybe we'll figure it out between now and then. Who knows?
We'll do some live. Hey, you know what? We'll do a live show from Dad's, and we can have a in-person appearance from Dr. Saxo, the Rock and Roll Cat.
He'd probably do something like lay down on the computer and wreck it with his huge body mass.
I know.
Knowing that dude, he's shameless. That one.
That thing's a panther.
He's a big boy. I got to see him on Thanksgiving week, and you know how that went.
Yeah.
Meow. 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 Meow.
Recorded a new one, but that's it. That's what it is every time.
Yeah.
So that was he just wanted to claw at my foot, which was fine because I had my shoes on, so whatever. And so I played with the cat because they don't seem to want to play with the cat that much. So every time I come over, the cat's like, "Yeah, let's wrestle," and
then it goes to fight the water cooler.
Right, and then he goes and
Like
beats on the water heater.
Did he do that again?
Once, yeah. Once. And what was funny about it was our younger brother was there for a while, and he brought his 2 corgis. And the time that he went to beat on the water cooler was after they left. Like, so he came down. He came down from he was upstairs in a bedroom. He came downstairs and he's kind of sniffing the air, and he kind of walked around.
Here.
Right, he was kind of tracing their steps and going around, and then when he figured out that they were gone, he ran into the laundry room and beat on the water cooler for a while. So he's a little weirdo, and we love him. But I am going to reiterate Rob's shout out to our live studio audience. We appreciate you guys showing up. Normal sized crowd. I was concerned. I was all set for there to be like 19 people. Like, oh, Mark's gone. I don't want to hear those assholes. But no. More. Our regulars are here. So please take that opportunity, take that sign to know that we need to continue to grow. Share us in your social media circles, on Facebook, on Reddit, on in your Discord servers, wherever you talk GI Joe with the people you talk GI Joe with. Be sure to bring What's on Joe Mind along. If you are catching us on replay, hey, we appreciate you too. We understand that Tuesday night at 9 is not the best time for everybody, and we wish we could accommodate everybody with a live show. But frankly, this is about the only night that works for us either. So your view counts just as much, and we appreciate you, and we hope that you're clicking the thumbs up and the subscription button all the same. About 30% of you every week aren't subscribed. I don't understand that. If you watch us once, the algorithm is going to continue to push us on you. So you might as well just subscribe and be done with it.
Give in.
Right? Like we're not selling you anything you weren't going to buy anyway. Oh no, GI Joe and similar toys. Not that. Not anything but that. Not that thing I'm already spending thousands of dollars on. Right. That's all. That's the only part of that algorithm that we're helping out. So by all means, give us a subscription right there. Click that little red button that's down below. If you are catching us on audio replay, we appreciate you. There's still a couple of hundred of you that do that every week. Thank you for that. Be sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Podbean or wherever you get your podcasts from. We're pretty much available everywhere. So just let them know what you think of us, because that really helps spread the word that way too. We'll give a shout out to our wonderful friends and sponsors at Kokomo Toys. Real quick, we'll sing the theme song. Kokomo Toys.
Kokomo Toys.
You're a little sharp, Phil. A little sharp. But
You're a little pitchy.
a little. Anyway.
How about a little Thai music, Paul, huh?
Right. I want to also give a shout out to our wonderful friends over at the Bandcamp podcast. Get their overlay on it going. Here we go. There we go.
All right, Phil stepping in. Come on, Phil. Come on, line it up. he can't get out of his chair. Oh, no.
Oh, come on, Phil. Anyways, if you Bandcamp Podcast reads classic books that have been banned in various social situations for whatever reason, in an attempt to understand why that may have happened. Usually those reasons are really, really crappy. So if you envision a future with censorship, and Lord knows nobody wants that, then be sure to tune into the Bandcamp Podcast and join Dan and Jennifer as they read through classics throughout history. New episodes every Tuesday, every Thursday. That's Bandcamp with 2 N's. You can find them wherever you get your podcasts from. Let's all get band together. Good effort, Phil.
That was awkwardly held.
There was kind of a dent on one side of Jennifer's head, but the hairline was good.
Yeah.
I did my best.
Like I think if she saw that one, I think that would probably win the prize for best effort. I think right there you put yourself ahead of anything Mark did.
Woo!
Right there. So good effort, Phil. Good effort. And of course, to you guys, thank you, Phil. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate you guys being here. We'll be back next week. I don't know if Phil's going to be here. I haven't even asked him that yet. We'll figure it out. As our friend Vagon likes to say, stay safe, and if you can't, be careful. Be sure to tune in next Tuesday at 9 p.m. for the very last What's on Joe Mind of 2024. And then the holidays, and then the best of 2024 episodes will be at the start of New Year's. So we kind of got a plan going forward, kind of.
We have 12% of a plan.
We have the very outer outlines of a plan. But anyways, I think I said this once already. Stay safe, and if you can't, be careful. Have a great rest of the week. Yo, Joe. Nobody's going to do anything wacky like Mark did, so okay, I'll just hit the button now.
Meow.